purchase new buses that is charged for each mile of service in the county that's a non-contract service. So if we're doing service for New Hope, if it's Medicaid, those types of routes don't count. You don't pay your amount towards that. It's just the general public rides for the county. We think next year that'll be around $1,200. I think that's less than it was this year, Courtney, but we just guess because we base it on the last fiscal year's rides because we don't know where we're going to be this fiscal year. So it usually does not fluctuate much. And then the fourth piece is the request for the match for Council of Governments Housing, which is the nonprofit that Region 12 controls. It is the Regional Housing Trust Fund. That's a level request, and we ask that equal amount from each of the 6 counties. And then we attempt to equalize the benefits to each of the 6 counties. And as you can imagine, some of that being project-based and some of it being based upon who is required, what applications we receive from individuals, that can fluctuate county by county. So we try to look at that over a 5-year period and then report back to the COG Housing Board as where we are in each county year by year. So the total request is that $42,178. So that is the COG dues, the transit system, and the Housing Trust Fund, plus that 6 cents per mile for capital match. What questions do you have for me?
I do not have any questions. Does anybody have any questions?
I do not.
No?
Does your rides seem to change, or do you see a trend on them?
They are slowly recovering. We just have not gotten back to where we were pre-pandemic. And that's total system wide. I think for one thing that we're finding is the trips are just a lot longer. So a lot of more medical trips to Des Moines or Omaha or Dakota Dunes, Iowa City, which aren't generally in. Some of that might be general public in Carroll County, but a lot of that's because we do most of the Medicaid transportation for the counties. And then we've had, again, contract service, a lot more work with school districts. And so running to Fort Dodge or to Council Bluffs or to Woodward, a lot for the school districts. And we'll also do their handicap service, Head Start. We're doing a little bit more of that as well. So it's ticking up on ridership a little bit, but really the miles, we're over 1 million miles a year now.
But on a private individual, is that based on their income too?
No, that
Just
is
the
the
flat?
only way it's based on their income is if they're elderly, if they're 62 or over, because we do work with Elder Bridge and we get a little bit of funding from them. So if a rider does not have to provide any fare, then if they get on and they're lower income, but if they're general public, the ride is, I think it's still $7 per person or $7.50 per person in town. And then it's, I think, $1.75, $1.80 per running mile for rural.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not,
Thank you, Rick.
thank you, Rick. And then also, we're just starting the budget season, so we'll reach out to you once that all gets finalized.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Carroll County Growth Partnership fiscal year 26 funding request. Kimberly here this morning with us. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning.
The Carroll County Growth Partnership is requesting just a slight increase from last year, and basically just a cost of living type increase. As you know, insurance rates and things like that have gone up, and nothing goes down, of course. But do want to share a few things with you. I know you have the packet in front of you. I'm sure you've looked at some of the things that Carroll County Growth Partnership does and did in 2024. But just to highlight a couple of things, we were happy to again participate in projects around the county with our Facade and Jumpstart Accelerator grants, which is funded by private investments and board member dues. Since starting our grant program, CCGP has assisted 24 businesses with facade improvements, starting their business or expanding. 11 of the 24 grants have been in the communities of Arcadia, Breda, Coon Rapids, Glidden, and Manning. So it's good to see businesses investing in their facade improvements and starting or expanding. and being able to be a small part of that. CCGP has a business retention and expansion program, which we believe is supporting Carroll County's core. The businesses that already exist have been here for a number of years. Visiting with those and seeing what can we do to assist you? What do we need to know about? Things like that. It was good to hear from those businesses that there are potential expansions and not necessarily retractions. That's always what we want to hear, of course. It was also good to be able to talk with businesses about the resources that are available that they can take a part of. One of those resources, for example, a manufacturing company needing to work on the floor of their manufacturing facility and increase their efficiencies. And Iowa State University has a program called CIRUS that you may be familiar with, the Center for Industrial Research and Service, and making those connections, and so that particular manufacturer could tap into that resource and work on efficiencies. CCGP also diligently works on advocacy that affects our county and our residents. And as you know, one of the pieces that we've advocated for is the rural EMS issue. And that is an issue that we take to Washington, D.C. every year. It's an issue that our Lieutenant Governor, Adam Gray, who recently resigned, focused on. And I'm hopeful that our new Lieutenant Governor, when that person is named, will focus on that as well. We will certainly be having that conversation as I serve on the executive board for Empower Rural Iowa. So that's something that's very important to all of us, for sure. Another piece of advocacy that has been consistent is communicating with our congressional delegation about the Farm Bill and the things that affect us here in Carroll County in that way. Also the USDA pass-through loan, which many of our local manufacturers and those types of businesses were able to take advantage of. We need to make sure that that funding stays in place if at all possible. So those low interest loans can continue to be reinvested in Carroll County and make a difference for those companies. Hub 712 has clocked a lot of hours with business counseling with business owners and potential owners. Some of these conversations and work have led to business startups and expansions, which have assisted, and we've assisted with business loans, financial projections, and things that they need to help secure funding. Currently, I'm ending my third year with CCGP, and there is a definite uptick in potential business and projects for Carroll and Carroll County. I'm wondering if part of it is we're getting far enough removed from 2020 that we're seeing some positivity. People are kind of settling in to interest rates and maybe some of the costs and things like that. Elections over with, all the things put together. But all that being said, there is great potential, and there's quite a few projects that are coming to us. So it's our job to be as prepared as we can with all the pieces and information and everything that we can do to assist those potential businesses and projects in Carroll County. Is there anything that I can answer for any of you?
There's a lot of information in here.
There's a lot of information.
Well, thank
How
you
much
for your-
longer does Jennifer have on her Hub 712? I know that's not directly related.
Was that was a 2 year?
Two and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah, it's 2.5 years. So we're
She's got
ending
a
our
year and a
half
half.
year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little closer to 2 years.
And how's she liking it?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
But with the number of clients she's reached is huge on your little chart here.
And that's, we're doing a lot of marketing. That really assists with that. We've really made that investment in marketing. So, but yes.
I think that a pretty good agenda headed for next year then on some businesses coming in possibly, or
Yes, it's for, like I said, for whatever reasons, just everything is getting loosening up, being far enough removed from 2020. In the county, there's some pretty major potential projects. So we look forward to, even if one of these projects would come to fruition, it would be very noticeable. So fingers crossed.
And Kimberly, I do want to thank you for your communication with me as well and everything that you do for Carroll County. I do appreciate your communication.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Thank you. all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you so
much. Appreciate it.
All right, next item on the agenda is the Historical Society fiscal year 26 funding request. And we have Barb with us. Good morning.
We've had quite an eventful year. I want to show you first the Burke bill. Bob Bass gave this to us this past summer. He delivered papers to the Burke Hotel and he rang this so much that they finally gave it to him. I'm gonna pass it around. And if you feel like you need to ring it, it's a beautiful sound. Go right ahead. It's hard to resist.
That's
It's
good.
gonna be on our front desk now. I also have some additional packets for you.
Thank
For you to keep.
You could be a desk clerk.
Love it.
Wow.
That is the beautiful sound that you guys don't hear.
It's pretty cool.
I hate to ask, I bet there's not too many at this table that remember Burke Hotel.
I don't think that name should be applied to any
Thank
other.
you.
hotel. You're welcome.
I'm the only one.
I would, but I'm old, if I just didn't come to Carroll much younger.
Yeah, that was a mainstay. What I've just given you here, first of all, a couple of activities that we hand out to customers. We worked them up this past year. Try to include the entire county in them, and the answers are on the papers, either on back or at the bottom, okay? The third page is something that we just acquired a couple years ago. We got a packet of information from John Hyder, who lives in Illinois now. And it's a letter that John C. Hyder, which was next generation of Henry and John Hyder, starters of the company. And it's just fascinating to read through that. I didn't know that information about fueling the Hyder tractor to begin with. The Hyder tractor that we have is a 1915, and this letter was written in 1913. So at your leisure, you read through that. It's a very promotional letter too at the bottom, so it was fun to read. I just picked it out by chance. Got a whole big box of materials, just fascinating. But this letter is a particular treasure. Okay, the most exciting thing we did this year was finally, after 10 years of trying, we found someone to fix the trapper's cabin. Brian and Holly Wendell and their family took half the cost of it for us. We provided the cost of materials and that, which turned out to be about half. But they worked on it this summer. There's just a couple minor little things to do, which Todd Schroeder, who did most of the work on it, is doing this morning. He's finishing that off. And if any of you would like to come see that cabin, I could be glad to open it up for you. We're going to feature it on our open house, which I think is going to be on the second Sunday of June this coming year. So just let me know. I'll gladly open it up for you. It's just beautiful on the inside. And it's so nice to see that north wall is no longer failing. And when we got it opened up, we found out that there were carpenter ants in the east wall. So I took every log they bought. They didn't think they'd need as many, 10 logs. That cost alone was $3,700. So, and then he distressed them. He had help to distress them. And he had one helper when they were putting the logs up. On the east wall, they have one log now that's all the way across in beautiful shape that will support the entire building. Now, other than a major catastrophe blowing by, that building is going to stand. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but that building will stand now. And it's just beautiful on the inside. Okay, now that was good news. The bad news was I came to give a tour Sunday afternoon in the summer. There was a piece of plaster on the floor down in the basement as I was checking things out. Where did that come from? Well, a piece of the ceiling came down on the east end, and then they have the wall was bad. I had asked the city for help with that already. So they're in the process of fixing that. City maintains that building. So it's just a matter of getting it all put back together again when they've finished. Got the ceiling finished, they're working on the walls. And as often as I'm in the museum, I never seem to find them there when I come visit, so whatever, that will be fixed. We had the usual activities except for one, when they came to do interviews about the Minnesota Lakers. That was organized by John Steffes. Road Trip Iowa, have you seen that show? It's on public, it's a fantastic show. They'll start up again in the spring. They are going to be featuring us a little bit as well as the Minnesota Lakers Park out there. That was the main focus. But we have the table from that plane and a few other things. So they came to interview us too. And then a month or so later, the Farm Journal radio program came and another interview. That I don't know when or if it's going to run. For tours, we had a lot of major tours come through, but the most fun was the Model A tour. And you see that this past summer, they
Down in
lined up
Manning,
along Model A's
in Manning though, or in Carroll?
in Carroll,
Okay.
right by us there. Yeah, they were a fun group. And they left us a $1 million bill. They just tucked it underneath the front rug and welcome mat. So that was fun. We put it in the donation box and it did get a few comments. So we again cooperate with Swan Lake and their programs. I've given a couple presentations at assisted living, mainly at St. Anthony's and Rolling Meadows. And we've gotten a lot of wonderful acquisitions, you know, this letter. We got a yoke, a hand carried yoke, not for oxen, but for yoke for people to carry. I'd never seen anything like that. It's made of wood. You put it around your neck and there's 2 chains and you can carry 2 pails. We didn't have such things when I was growing up. We carried 2 pails. Anyway, that was fun. And now we have a beautiful big plywood board of a barbed wire display. That came from John Wittrey in Breda. It's out at the barn now. We've got a nice display in the museum, but now we've got a beautiful display out at the barn. And a few other things. One was new to me, a corn dryer, not your spiky kind or the pig wire type, but it's like an omega letter. It goes around like that and they hook together and there's 2 spikes on either end, but more wire, not such dangerous looking spikes. And my brother tells me there's a lot of different designs to corn dryers. I hadn't known that. But now we've got 3. Coming up, next year, it's going to be 120 years since the building was built. It was built in 1905. And we're working on getting a little ornament, like a Christmas ornament with the design of the building on it. We're working on it yet. And we plan to sell them for a little bit more than cost, so we can make a little money on them too. We think ornaments will be very popular. And though we don't have too good of a record with fundraising with selling stuff, the only success that we've really had was the ghost town tours. And if there's enough interest, we will have a 4th one this fall, maybe this year, the end of September. We've been too lucky. Those 3 October days, the first Sunday in October, they've been beautiful so far. I mean, our luck is bound to change. So we might move it up to the last Sunday in September. And only if there's enough interest for it, because there are costs involved. And I've already had a couple inquiries. So we just have to wait and see with that. We'll have to make that decision by April, I would think. All right, so do you have any questions for me?
I don't. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Last year I did go on the ghost tours. It was fun.
Yes, I think you were on the first one or second one?
Second one.
Second one, yeah. You missed the excitement of the first one.
Well, after you came and told us about the first one, that was when I signed up for the second one.
Well, we'll advertise it on Facebook this year, so that should help too.
Anybody I've talked to that's been on that ghost trip, it's been a good trip, they said.
Well,
They
thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
We worked
Done a
hard
good
on
job.
that.
And last fall, I did go through the Swan Lake Historical Society with my grandkids and they thought it was cool too.
The barn,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
just,
just
I mean,
put
it's just wide
there.
open. Anybody can walk in and yeah,
anytime.
sign the guest book when you enter and turn off the lights when you leave.
Well, the guest book I have upstairs and it gets missed quite a bit, but I can usually tell if someone has picked something up, you know. So I can usually tell if someone's been there.
Yeah, it's a little treasure out there.
Yeah, we put a couple more things out there just yesterday. So it's always hopefully changing. This last year's been good for adding to that display.
Way to preserve history because a lot of young kids don't understand what the older people went through to put food on the table and do things like that. So it's kind of neat.
And it always amazes me, even simple things, if little kids see handkerchiefs. What are those, Mama? You know, handkerchiefs?
I admire your passion for
Yes.
preserving the history. It is very unique and or we do a wonderful job. You're a staple. of the
Thank you.
community, So thank you for everything you do.
I don't have any other questions. So yeah,
Thank you.
once we get finalized with the budget, we'll let you know.
I understand that, yes, and thank you so much for your
How many
support.
people pass this quiz on their first time?
They usually take it with them.
I was gonna say, yeah, I
And I-
can't quite name them all. I mean, several of them I know. Same here, but
There's a few
I'm
of them I don't know.
gonna have to look at the cheat sheet.
Thank you. And the fact that they're not all up around anymore,
See if we can get more.
so
That's
they take them home and they can look at the answers and match the answer to the picture, so. I
Well,
do
thank
try-
you very, very much.
I do try to include the whole county in something like this. We are the Carroll County. So,
That's right.
thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Your dinger,
I'm not hitting my bell.
Bill. You don't leave that.
You wanna
Okay.
hear it once more?
Thanks, Lord.
All right, next item on the agenda is the Carroll Area Daycare Child Care Center fiscal year 26 funding requests.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're scheduled at 9:45, so we might be a little. ahead of
We'll jump over that so they can do a little presentation. All right, Zach, are you good to go? All right, next item, then we'll go to secondary roads, review and adopt safety action plan pledge.
Yes.
Good morning, Zach.
Good enough. So this is kind of a follow-up to our safety action plan meeting that we had here a couple months ago. This is kind of the last step in putting this together to make us eligible for federal funding for safety dollars, is what it boils down to, so. Any questions, I guess, on this?
So this is a follow-up from the Swan Lake seminar we had.
Pretty much, yeah, it's the, I guess, the ending,
It's final step.
part of the final step of that to be able to apply for federal safety funds for this, so.
This is the first time you've done it?
Yeah, this is the first time they've had this. This was a, I think it was in the BIL legislation that came through. Every county is going through this process, I believe, 97 of the 99. There's 2 of them, I think, that had a plan like this, but everyone else is either updating it or creating a new one. So they're going through this process, so.
You say you get some funding through.
Potentially, you're eligible. You're not eligible unless you go through and create the safety action plan. So that's why we, in beginning middle of September, we had a meeting with a lot of the stakeholders of Carroll County to discuss transportation safety, basically, among other things in that meeting. So it was, we had a really good turnout. It really did turn out well, so.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
I'm fine.
So would entertain a motion to approve the safety action.
I'll
plan.
make a motion to approve the Carroll County Pledge Safety Plan.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Just one other item of note, we did, as you probably seen in the payables, we are getting delivery of that medium duty snowplow truck chassis today, so. That's why that shows up, it's showed up in the bills, so. But other than that,
And an expensive wheel loader.
Mhm.
And a lot of expensive parts.
unfortunately,
Been fixing a lot, it looks like.
There's been lots of stuff, yeah. Trying to get everything ready for going through winter and just, that's lots of things,
I think Ziegler's gotta love you guys.
among others.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any more questions?
I don't.
All right, thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve payables. Has everybody had time to take a look at the payables? And then my second question will be, is there any questions on the payables?
I have one question underneath the. Let me look at this.
McRae was inexpensive on board,
What's that?
$32.15.
Underneath the sheriff there, we have a vehicle purchased. What is that for? Do you know?
What was the question?
29,420.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 second.
Courtney, wasn't that really 49,000?
So that's the new Tahoe for the sheriff's department, and that includes a trade-in or a credit on another vehicle.
How do we have a credit? 1 second, I'm still trying to get
I can
there.
go pull it. You want me to pull the bill of sale so you guys can see it?
Yeah, I didn't know. I guess I was unaware we were ordering another one.
Okay,
Just
I'll be right back.
ordered.
I'll go grab
Okay.
that so you guys.
I thought we just ordered one. My lord, can somebody tell me exactly?
It's on page 2.
It's on the
That's the
top.
top.
It's hard to, it's under rule service basic there.
29,020.
How are we getting a Tahoe for that?
I think what I saw was there's a check for 20,000 to offset it. From a total vehicle, but we'll see what she brings.
We'll earmark that one from the sheriff's department. And then is there any other questions on, obviously you guys saw on secondary roads, the
260,969 for the
Yeah.
wheel loader. 68,579 for the truck.
Big mom.
I did see, it looks like the conservation's doing a lot of repairs to buildings out there too. Get a lot of supplies from Midwest also.
General assistance. That's where they pay rent for people.
Yep.
And those do show. We can check.
Yeah. Yes.
no, it's been pretty quiet.
All right, so this is for a 2024 Chevy Tahoe for the sheriff's office. Retail on that was 49,905.20. Now, we received a check from ICAP on a totaled out Durango in the amount of 20,485, which is why the check we're writing is 29,420.
So there was a totaled vehicle.
Yeah, I don't know if it says exactly
do
which. It's for a 2020 Dodge Durango, which was a total loss. Lost date was 10/4/24. And that's all I can really tell you. We don't really know anything.
Replacement from an accident.
Yes, they totaled out the vehicle. And ICAP gave us a check for
They
20,000.
must have had one totaled. Didn't know about it.
So
Well, because we also paid quite a bit in service wrecking fees as well. 375 and then 497.
Probably the same deal then.
You know, our jobs as Board of Supervisors, it's not to micromanage other elected officials. That's not what our intentions are. But when it comes to government property or county property, it's probably best to have good communication with us so we know exactly kind of what's going on before we get a little bit blindsided during the payables.
Wouldn't that record service be covered under insurance?
There was, so those two invoices, I did see those. One was from up on 150th Street, I believe, to here. And the second one, the 497, was from, it was a couple weeks later, from here to Carroll Chevrolet in Des Moines, I believe.
Oh, so the same vehicle.
The way I read it. There was a difference in dates. And I think, if I remember right, it was over 2 months ago. It was early October when on the first, the 375 was early October.
But I would think some of that record service would be covered under insurance. Maybe something we need to check into. If we don't have that.
well, we have a deductible too. So, I mean, we got the check for 20,485. Part of that could be reimbursement for the towing. But we do have a deductible as well. So,
All right.
because it says on here amount billed 21,485. We got 20,485. So that's the $1,000 deductible, it looks like. So
I just think this budget season will definitely hone in on just letting everybody know that there needs to be communication and if there is taking time to pay those. That's a lot at the beginning of the year. That's my only 2 cents. And obviously we're gonna pay it, but communication would have been nice.
So I'll make a motion to approve 781, 410, 94.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7 is application discussion. Scott, I was gonna.
Yeah.
So Mark, to give you a little bit of a background, unless Scott, you want to go into this.
Well, I just know first of the year is when, let me back up. Probably 6 months ago, the board approved an expression of interest form for all the different appointments that the board makes. I mean, we have several townships. Anyway, there's a lot expiring this year. And the intent was in November, the election kind of caught us off, but to mail this form to everybody on here. You could also ask for a little bit of background information on them. So I came in Friday and went through all the ones that expire years in. And there's going to be several of them. So Courtney has agreed to send out this, with our approval, this expression of letter interest with a self-addressed stamped envelope for them to return it. And hopefully we can get them back so that on the people that are still interested in continuing to serve, January, our first meeting in January, we can reappoint them without having to say, oh, I forgot to ask him or her. So this will be the first step in the outreach to see if they want to continue.
Which I think it's very streamlining and it makes everybody aware too, because otherwise, I don't know if you've ever watched, but come January 1st, we're kind of, well, normally we try to look through it first and highlight, and then we all kind of reach out. But I think this is a very good thing to have. And then we can keep it on file as well.
Exactly.
That's the paper as well.
It's a good plan of action.
Yes,
Good job.
I will go ahead and approve for Courtney to, Courtney, do you want a motion for, wait, I can't.
we technically don't need one.
Okay,
I just wanted
yeah,
you guys to all be on.
The board-
Us to be on, because they're not my appointments. I just
Okay.
wanted to be on the same page.
I feel like that's a great move.
I'm all for it. Good with that, Gene?
We may have to make a few more appointments. People then might decide to get off that.
Well, some of those committees, I don't want to
But
say,
if they're not being involved, they should be.
yes.
Yeah.
But like drain 23, some of those people, they're by election, but the township trustees, perhaps. Some of them, they may not even have a meeting, aren't they? Or are they required to meet 4 times a year?
No, they're required to meet to approve their budgets, approve financials. So I think 3 times.
Okay.
I hope. I think it's 3.
How do you find these people? They volunteer or you go out and ask people once in a while?
A lot of phone calls.
Yeah, it is. It's sometimes you have to live in a certain area. The gender
Gender
balancing is gone now. 'Cause that used to
Gone.
make it tough on some of the commissions.
It was part of legislation, then they realized after the thought that that made everything a lot harder to do. So that went away, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got
Thank you, Courtney.
approval to do that. Thanks, Scott, for
Welcome.
your
Yeah,
extra
you're
work on
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
We'll go,
Cause I did know that there's a few more on here. I question if they will be
Yeah.
capable of doing it anymore.
Well, I think I recall several years ago, there may be a deceased person who was reappointed to a board.
and you've got one for conservation
Yep.
too, that will be making, just remind me in January to do that. Okay, so we are going to go to item number 4. The Carroll Area Child Care Center fiscal year 26 funding request, and it looks like we have Jackie. Yes. Are you girls ready?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up. Good morning, ladies. And
Good morning.
Mark. Good, good. I think that's the only new face. Everybody else, yeah.
Great, and
Yep.
not new to us anymore, so that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we appreciate him being on our board with
Good.
us. So thank you.
Good.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name's Keely Farah. I'm the director at the Carroll Area Child Care Center and Preschool. Here today with Jackie Mertez, our board president, and Lexi Klug, the assistant director. We are a licensed child care center currently serving 70 families, which equals about 115 children. We are running at about half capacity, meaning that we could technically take 213 as our license allows. I only have 14 full-time staff, whereas if fully enrolled, if I had enrollment up to where it was supposed to be, I could actually employ about 14 more full-time staff. And then I have 16 part-time staff as well, but they're only allowed to cover more of like the afternoon shifts and cannot work closing shifts. So looking ahead to 2025, it is our primary goal to increase our enrollment. So get back up to not capacity, just because I know that that is not a smart goal, in my opinion. So we really want to be able to employ at least 4 full-time staff members that could potentially provide care for 16 infants. So we're using kind of that infant age range because infants require the most care. So I need 1 staff per 4 children. So just looking at our wait list and what has, kind of come within the last 2 years, there's a significant need in the Carroll community for childcare. So we are constantly having to turn families away, which is very hard for us because there's so many people calling daily or even stopping in looking for childcare. But I'm saying it's hard for us because we have the space and we have everything set up that we need, but we do not have the trained childcare providers. So we are just not getting the interest in employment at our workplace, or we are able to get some applicants that pursue the interest and the interview, and they begin the training and the onboard experience, but then they realize the demand of the job and it's not a good fit for them, and they're able to communicate that to us, and we're able to move forward without them, which means we're able to sustain and maintain care for the enrolled families, but it's not allowing us to move forward and be able to have any movement on our waiting list, which we are finding just like a huge factor for us and the community. So there's so many eager people that are calling us daily, stopping in, wanting to find work, or they're moving to the area, or maybe their in-home provider isn't providing anymore. And we just want to help them, but we're just finding it very difficult to say yes or to help because we do not have the hands on deck to be able to open the classrooms and provide the care. So additional staff is absolutely needed to meet the demand of the community right now. And that's just something moving forward. That's really what we want to do. We are overall, very happy with the success currently at the Child Care Center, we just, we want to do more. Like we just feel like we're at a hard spot right now that we can't do more for more families, but we continue to do what we can for the current families. So like the funding we requested specifically would go towards the hiring and onboarding of 4 full-time staff, which for us, that would include the required training hours. And honestly, when they first join our team, it's a good week to 2 weeks in the classroom, getting their feet wet, learning the rules and guidelines of licensing. And then they're required to be fingerprinted and take so many necessary trainings to be able to pursue and carry out our mission as a child care center. Like for us, coming here today and giving you the update on where we currently stand and what we want to do in 2025. We wanted to address kind of like our need right now so that we can in turn help the community so that hopefully we can get some more workers in the community, individuals that won't be hesitant to go to work full time because their child will be in good hands. Yeah, it's our goal, and we're hopeful to carry that out. Hopefully with your help and support. We thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'm prepared for any questions if anyone has any.
What are your rates? Like last year you went over just for a full-time infant and
Absolutely. So it does vary based on age. So of course, our infants are more expensive in the $215 range. And then for our children age 2 until they enter a 4-year-old preschool program, it's a little less. So I want to give you the number of like 207, but it's definitely reliant on like family setup too. So say they have 2 children, there might be a little discounted rate. And then for our half-day preschool program goers, that current rate is right in the $200 range. And then we have our before and after school program that is currently $100 a week, and it's a weekly rate.
thank you.
Yep. And that's something that we're able to look at annually to, like when we go through our budget, that's something that, sadly, some of the cost does have to be included in our tuition rate increases. So the parents are.
We do try really hard to try to balance, even passing that on to the parents, at the cost with, also, so we can't just jack up these rates just to be able to cover stuff, because we know that gets expensive for families too, to do that. So it's kind of a balance act to try to figure out where that cost threshold is, because, you want people to be able to work as well. So you don't want it to be.
It's tied to economic development. It's a fine line.
It is.
So how much your local sport, you have county, city, United Way, 14,000. Do you know how, are we pretty much equal what all 3 of us give?
Yes, so like looking at United Way is typically 2,000.
Okay.
City, I don't know if we included for sure in our budget, just because we haven't heard from them yet. What was that in the range of? Yes, 7,000. And then I'm not sure what we included in the budget for this year from the county.
That would 5,000.
I know your ask
Yeah, we're
is
asking for
5.
Well, those would all
5,000.
add up to the 14 then.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
thank you.
years previously, we've been given up to 11,000 from the county. Yes.
My question to you is, are you getting any support from private enterprises also? Like private business, are they offering to support you also?
So we do an annual fundraiser, which we just did our reach out last week, actually. So we always look forward to, in our letter for the local businesses, it's important too that they know that we're, many of the families, parents work at these local businesses. So we include that in our letter. So our outreach is, good. And then I feel like we typically include in our budget to receive about, I feel like it's anywhere between $15,000 and $18,000.
You have on here fundraising, 7,000 is what your estimated revenue is.
Yeah, absolutely. So our fundraising, we do small kind of hands-off fundraisers that are easily ran. For example, selling like puffins, cookies, ice cream, kind of.
Lemonade stand.
Yes,
Yes.
lemonade stand, absolutely. The event of the year.
Yes.
Used to be my favorite.
You're really open about it. I'm at the committee meeting. You do it with your hands tied with some things you can do in room sitting empty. We need to, hopefully you can get those.
It's
back to
very, it's a
full.
deceiving when you don't know the information.
Right.
So when you actually do, and I sit on the board and I appreciate everything you guys do. It's, Jackie nailed it. It's so hard because there is a fine line of what number you can charge a family because you want them to be out in the working field. But you also can't charge enough to where they wouldn't go out into the working field and they just stay home. It is a constant circle, but it is one thing we do lack in Carroll County is childcare. I know everybody's waiting and waiting. You can go online on Facebook and you can see all these moms wondering where daycare would be, and there's just not a lot of options. I think we're pretty fortunate because we have what the options we have are really good buildings outside of just you guys, you know, Breda and Manning. We have really good organizations, but we just staff.
What's your current waiting list?
There's over 200 children on our waiting list.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We take like 3 phone calls a day and usually one pop in that brings the children with them, like but looking for childcare immediately.
You've
So
got room
it's-
for 98 more people, it appears.
Yes, technically. Yeah.
98 more children, I
Yeah.
should say.
Well, thank you, ladies, for everything you do on the
Thank you
service
so
you
much for
provide to
your
Carroll.
time this morning.
We'll let you know once we get into the budget, where we sit, but you guys will get a letter or a phone call or Mark can let you know what we decide.
Great, absolutely. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. All right, item number 8 is to approve Region 12 county ordinance. You guys all received that letter that we got from Region 12.
Thank you for reaching out to them.
This would come out of the Board of Supervisors budget and there is money in there for it. What this would do is Chris would go over every ordinance that we have within the county minus zoning. I think the zoning comes out of,
But we already paid for that through the
Yeah.
comprehensive.
so that would
But
be,
this is a blanket quote, no
Yep.
matter how much work we need
Yep.
or
and then he would provide any information if things have changed. Then we would have 2 public hearings that we actually probably at that point would send it off to the county attorney for the final. approval.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, you still have to have
He's got-
legal review.
well, he has it down here, legal review by county attorney, June of 2025. The second to last step.
And then we would have public hearings for all of them to ratify and get these up to date. So
I'm all in favor.
if you guys are good with Region 12 jumping in and helping us out and
Get
reviewing
this taken
everything.
care of.
100%.
We need to
Yeah.
get it
It's gotta
done.
be done.
When I spoke to Whitaker, they do it for, I mean, he lists all the references and all the people they do it for, but it is not it's not a reach for them to be able to do it. It's under their umbrella. So yeah, I'll gladly make a motion to spend $3,000
second
to,
The motion and a second, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Courtney, do you want me to, do you want to send them our file of what we have?
I think so, because I don't want to make all the department heads that already did all the work have to redo it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can email him, say the board approved it and give him the changes that we had from
And
how
I do
many
appreciate
months
the
ago.
Department heads and elected officials that have gone and done some of their legwork on their own too, because they know their departments and obviously state code and changes, ordinances, all that changes.
Well, we've been at this a long time.
3 years.
Time to get it done.
and in February, March, department heads will have their chance to
Yep.
speak to them.
Perfect. All right, thank you, guys. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve the plats. I know we have one here for Jared Green. I did see another one. There was one that came through. for
There's a
David
houseman.
Smith.
Yeah.
I will have to abstain from that one, I think.
But we didn't get that one through that's not on the agenda here.
Sarah
You
sent
know
us
why
the
there was that?
information.
Because it came after I got the packets
Okay.
ready.
Okay.
It was in the
So we're only
afternoon.
approving the one today, right?
The one for.
The green.
Green.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And you'll have the houseman next week then, Courtney?
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is to approve the Class B retail alcohol license for Al's Corner Oil Company.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 11 is to authorize the chair to sign the Gronewell Bell Bryan and Company fiscal year 24 audit engagement letter.
So moved. we better do it because they're always getting less of these auditors. We better not switch.
Courtney, and I think it says in there, but I would like this year to either do a live or in-person review of the observations and findings. And I think, is that included in here?
I didn't look through
I
it.
couldn't find it in the language bank in years past. You said it's an option if we chose to do
I
it.
believe so, but the last time we had them come in, they charged us for that,
I wonder if we could do a Zoom call.
possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to verbally go over any of the
Every
findings
single
that
one
need
of them,
change.
yeah. And it looks to me like doing the math, it comes up 5% increase this year. But I agree with Gene that there aren't very many people wanting to do it. And if we can find one for a cheap price, I'll second.
Cheaper than state.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 is manure management annual updates. We have a Brian Schroeder Home, Section 21, Arcadia Township, original plans, and Schroeder Home Site, Section 21, Arcadia Township, original plans. And we are to committee reports.
I can go first. Last week I did the paper and radio. Tuesday, I did not get to CCGP. It was a presentation meeting anyway. It was, we had District 1 meeting over at Boone. Again, very interesting. They did county updates with all the counties that was there. Actually, I thought there was a bigger crowd this year than there has been in the past. And then the staff of ISAC went through all the legislative updates and stuff like that, and also the education thing. So I thought, very good meeting. Then Wednesday, we had Rolling Hills meeting by Zoom. Wasn't much on the agenda. We went through the financials. Everything's good there. We did go ahead and they brought up the property deed transfers on the two properties. And I did vote nay on those because I was going to still vote that way because I did not agree with that position. And also then we looked at the fiscal year budget for closeout, which we will be closing out in June 30th. That's when the Rolling Hills will be terminated. But we have to have some carryover funds. So we have to do a budget for July for any outstanding bills that we have to pay for at that time. So we have to do that. So our next meeting will be in January 8th. Then also this week, I've been working on evaluation for CEO of one of the committees I'm on. And we'll do that, present that to him today. This week, I've got policy council meeting at Head Start on Tuesday. And Thursday's CCGP executive board meeting. And then Thursday night, I have New Opportunities board meeting. And that's my week.
I didn't have any committees last week, but this week I'm gonna meet with Molly Scott tomorrow afternoon. And kind of, you're gonna give me a little bit of kind of what's going on with the PCAT. And I'm gonna meet with Jason Huffman on 9, same thing, E911, just to kind of get me up to speed what's going on. That's what I have going on this week.
And you have newspaper radio.
I can go next. Are you done? Sorry. But no, last Wednesday I met with Kimberly, Team Teller at CCGP and did some, what's going on, what's new in their world updates. Today I have conservation at 3:30. And on Friday, I have a meeting with the city council at 9 a.m. with Steph, I think, regarding the
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
I'm gonna double check that right now.
I think it's 9, but regarding the 2 mile and try to wrap that up. So that is
8 a.m. Friday the 13th at 8 a.m.
Thank you. 8 a.m.
Is Sarah at one?
I'll let her know.
Okay.
You're gonna let Sarah know.
I'll email her right now.
Last week, Monday was the Central Community Republican. 11:30 was foster grandparents and RSVP. Tuesday, I also missed CCGP and did attend the District 1 Supervisor meeting in Boone, and there were a lot of topics covered. Thursday was engineer's office to review the claims. Friday, I reviewed all the Board of Supervisor appointments with Courtney, what plan we kind of approved today. Reviewed the courthouse claims. I did talk to Chris Whitaker about the quote and just the services Region 12 has in general that maybe we could benefit from. I also went to the ambulance station, talked to Jamie about several issues. And then I did contact Dr. Slattery and Williams about renewing their medical examiner appointments, and both accepted. So those are two we don't have to worry about filling the first of the year. But Dr. Slattery did say this would be his last 2-year term. I talked to Zach Niehaus about paint and carpeting the basement. We need to get going on that. The money's in the budget, but those 3 offices down there, the common area, winter might be a good time to get some quotes for painting that area, because I think we do need to have those shovel ready, so to speak, for people to move in.
We do have one person that would like to move into those offices,
Okay.
which would make sense to have them down near the E911.
This week I have tonight's city council meeting is a closed session, so I will not be attending. Tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning, solid waste commission meeting. And Wednesday at 5:30 is a board of adjustment meeting. And Gene, Thursday is when we're supposed to be getting that refund from the state for the fines. Remember they talked about that at ISAC, the underpayment. I need to get with Courtney about that. But it'll just be an email probably, but that's all I have.
I don't know if they're gonna get the check then yet.
That's Thursday's when they're announcing how much each
Yeah.
county will get. That's all.
Okay, I guess I'm last. Last week we did a safety walkthrough in the courthouse. We spent all morning up here and we went through every department, every office, and looked for any things that the staff would like or anything that the offices may need. And Jeff Collin worked on a spreadsheet and got that to me. So I'll meet with Franzen and Jeff one more time, and then we'll probably pull the board together to maybe get some of these ideas that we came up with. It's such as simple things as panic buttons. There's a couple spaces that we need them in that they're currently not in. There was nothing very big outstanding. So I think we can do we can implement a lot of these little procedures or items, and it would bring huge enhancement to the employees as well. And then from that, we will go into setting up dates so that we can do a tornado drill, a fire drill, and then down the road, we will be doing active shooter training as well. So there's still some coordinating. We're coordinating that with the Carroll County Safety Committee as well. And I do want to thank everybody that was in the courthouse that helped and was open and gave us suggestions and any ideas that would make them feel safe in their work environment. Then I did field, and Mike, take this to the board. I did call a conservation board member as well. I did field quite a few phone calls this week about that back trail that or the road, how you guys close it. And they were concerned because they like walking back there. But I also mentioned to them, you have to reach out to the Carroll County Conservation because we don't govern that board. We oversee their budget. And they just kind of want to know why, one, we close it, and two, what could they do to get it to stay open? And the things that I'm aware of is, one, to keep costs down on snow removal, and two, for habitat for the animals that live out there so they can stay on the backside.
Yep.
That's the two things that I told them, but I made them aware that they can reach out to Jason or the conservation board, and I can give you the names of the few people that I talked to this week, but just wanted to give you a heads up.
We had that conversation last year, and that's the two things they brought up. Somebody wrote a letter about it, so. Letter, yep,
So just a little bit of a heads up.
yes.
This week I have Region 12 executive policy meeting. I'm unsure. I think we might have RDC as well. And then Friday morning at 8 a.m. we'll be meeting with the city for the 2 mile. I think that would probably be our final discussion with the city. We're gonna hone in on maybe what they are thinking, and then we'll obviously come here and give guidance to Sarah Halbrook, because from my understanding, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, the Planning and Zoning Commission has to meet with a proposal that we may have.
That's what it sounds like.
I think there may be a public hearing on.
There is a public hearing as well. Yes, yep.
Yeah.
So we need to keep moving in the right direction. Courtney, what do you got for next week? Hey, let me guess, we got a plat.
Well, yeah, we do now. We got new opportunities, funding request, CASA's funding request, free to daycare funding request, RSVP foster grandparent funding request.
Just hammering those out this year. That's
Well,
good.
get 'em
I
done.
like it. Any comments from those in attendance?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good stuff.